first playoff spots since 2014. Aaron Hill leads off at second base. Emmanuel Marrero, his double play partner at shortstop, batting second. Logan Farrar is the left fielder hitting third. Dale Burdick is at third base tonight cleaning up. Jake Veith across the diamond from him at first base. He'll be batting fifth. Stephen Kraft, the center fielder, hitting in the sixth hole. Dre Hubbard is the right fielder batting seventh. Brian De La Rosa, the veteran catcher, hitting in the eighth hole. And Zach Racusin, the designated hitter, batting ninth. Marty Anderson is 5-4 in 16 starts with a 2.78 ERA. In 84 and a third innings, he's allowed only 63 hits and 35 runs, only 26 of which are earned. The only time he has ever struggled this year is when he walks guys. 57 walks in 84 and a third innings, but 87 strikeouts. He always has the strikeout stuff to get around the trouble. Batters have hit 214 off of Anderson this year, and this will be his first ever start and appearance against the Lake Erie Crushers. Career appearance number 37 and start number 29 for Anderson in the Frontier League. The 26-year-old from Bainbridge, Georgia, formerly of the Florence Freedom, never faced the Crushers as a member of Florence. Miners are wearing the alternate black uniforms with the white letters and numbers, white pants here at home with the black and gold stripe down the side and all black caps with the pickaxe on them. And Lake Erie wearing the Traveling Road purple uniforms with the white letters and numbers and trim, gray pants for the Crushers, and they are also wearing purple caps with the Angry Grape on the front. First time these two teams have seen each other since mid-June. A lot of new faces on both sides, particularly on the Miners side. We'll see how it all stacks up here. As Aaron Hill steps in to lead off, a right-handed batter hitting .276 with 12 home runs and 32 RBIs. The first pitch of the game by Anderson is a fastball down the middle for a called strike one, and we are underway at 6:37 on an absolutely picture-perfect night for baseball here in Marion. The count is 0-1 on Hill, a second-year member of the Crushers roster, the reigning Frontier League Rookie of the Year as well. There's another fastball by Anderson. It's just off the outside edge, 1-1. Defense for the Miners, no real surprises to it. Left to right in the outfield, Kervin Mesquite, Joe Duncan, and Kyle Davis. Taylor Sparks at third, Yeltsin Godinho at shortstop, Jared Watkins at second base, and Jamie Smart at first, as there's a breaking ball in for a strike on the inner half to Hill. 1-2. Arturo Nieto doing the catching for Marty Anderson. A righty switch lefty trio of matchups for Anderson here in the first. Into the wind, the left-hander deals the 1-2 pitch. Fastball fouled off to the right and out of play. Count is still 1-2 on Aaron Hill. Last time the Miners saw the Crushers, Hill's batting average was still sub 200, and it was kind of right after the Miners left Avon in June that Hill really started to heat up. He has now added power to his game as well. Lake Erie has power all up and down their lineup, as Hill apparently is having some equipment trouble with his ankle guard. Perhaps a snapped stretchy band or something like that. He readjusts and gets back in the box. Originally from Groton, Connecticut is Hill. Anderson ready to deal to him. And here comes another 1-2 pitch. It's off speed and down in the turf. Off of Nieto, 2 balls and 2 strikes. It's kind of an interesting game tonight for Anderson against this Lake Erie lineup. None of the players have ever seen him before. And Anderson excels at keeping the ball off of the sweet spot. Here's a 2-2 pitch. Fastball lined in a right center field that will drop for a base hit. Davis, shielding his eyes from the sun, gets over to his right quickly and fires in to hold Hill to a single. And a leadoff man on base here in the first for the Crushers. Brings up the switch hitter Emmanuel Marrero, who will bat from the right-hand side. Miners have had trouble with Marrero all year. The 6 previous games, he has 9 hits and 22 at-bats, a couple doubles and a homer, along with 10 runs batted in 6 games. Overall this year, Marrero has some outstanding offensive numbers, especially for a shortstop. 293, 15 home runs, and 48 runs batted in. Hill can run, and he does run often, 21 out of 27 on the season. No score just underway in the first. Anderson comes set from the third base side of the rubber, and he looks over at Hill, now brings it home. Marrero takes just a bit outside, ball 1, as called by home plate umpire Todd Odell tonight. The veteran Joe Harris is on the bases. Lights on here, barely any wind to speak of at Rent 1 Park. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. Good fastball there. Got through the bat of Marrero, 1-1. Marrero, a 5-year member of the Phillies organization, Double-A last year in Reading. This is his first season in the Frontier League. A former 7th rounder back in 2014 is Marrero. Hill with a good lead off first. Twitching over there as there's a fastball called strike on the outside edge. Count is now 1-2. If Marty Anderson throws good strikes, he is awfully tough. We mentioned the walk troubles that he had been dealing with this month. That's really the only times he gets into trouble is when the walks start to pile up. He holds a set of the letters and deals a 1-2. Marrero swings and foul, tips it at home plate. Stays alive at a ball and 2 strikes. Out of the All-Star break, Anderson turned it up a little bit. 13 scoreless innings over 2 wins against Joliet and Gateway. Since then, he has not gotten a victory. Anderson holds a set and will step and toss to first this time. 0-3 in that span. The walks really did creep up to hurt him a bunch in that streak. Last start he made against Evansville, he pitched pretty well. 1 out shy of a quality start. Was pitching very well until his last inning. Departed with a couple men on base. Walked only 2 and struck out 5 in that game. The 1-2 to Marrero. Backdoor breaking ball lifted in the air to right. Fairly deep. Backing up Davis. Still back on the move. It's over his head and off the wall. Hustling towards second, Marrero. The throw comes in not in time, and it is a double for Marrero. That ball traveled much deeper than I thought it would off the bat. And Davis having a lot of trouble with the sun right now in right field. Second and third with nobody out for Lake Erie. And they have a chance to do something that Washington did not do once over the weekend, and that is hold a lead against the Miners. Logan Farrar, the batter, he's a left-handed hitter hitting .339 with 2 homers and 6 RBIs in 16 games. A late season signing by Lake Erie. Lefty to lefty matchup, and the first pitch to Farrar. Just a little bit low, count is 1-0. Didn't miss by much. Farrar out of Woodbridge, Virginia, and the athletics organization. He was teammates in college at VCU with Benjamin Dumm. Former Miners right-hander, picked up by the Twins earlier this month. Anderson sets and deals. Swing and a miss, good fastball. Got Farrar out in front a little bit, 1-1. Farrar this year was at Single A in Beloit before being let go and signing with Lake Erie. Hill at third, Marrero at second base, nobody out, top of the first, and no score. 1-1 pitch. Breaking ball, swing and a miss by Farrar, again out in front. It's 1-2. Anderson features fastball, slurve, and change. 6'1", 180 pounds. Slight of build, but good movement on his ball. It'll be a 1-2 pitch to Farrar. Anderson kicks and delivers. Breaking ball tapped to the left side. Charging in Godinho on the move. His only play is to first, and he makes it. A run comes in to score Lake Erie with a quick 1-0 lead. RBI ground out for Logan Farrar. Moves Marrero over to third as well. And that brings up Dale Burdick. Farrar just reaching out and putting the ball in play. And now Anderson will deal with Burdick and Veith, the 2 big power bats in the Lake Erie lineup. Burdick hitting .236 with 11 home runs, 43 RBIs. And lefty to righty, Anderson with the infield back at semi-normal depth. Deals a fastball outside, 1-0. The shortstop, Godinho, is back where he normally is. Third baseman Sparks is kind of where he normally is. The right side of the infield, the opposite side is slightly in. especially at second base. Anderson's 1-0. Low and inside, it gets through the catcher, and now Marrero's caught between third and home as Nieto picks it up off the backstop, throws to Sparks, who throws back to Nieto, and Marrero tagged out for out number 2. A bit of a fortuitous bounce there off the backstop, right back to Arturo Nieto on the pitch that was in the turf and away. It is 2-0 on Burdick. No wild pitch there as Marrero is put out. 2-5-2. And the bases are now clear. And the Miners catch a little bit of a break there. So now Anderson can operate from the full windup. He fires a 2-0 pitch. There's a fastball right in the zone over the outer edge for a called strike. 2 balls, 1 strike on Dale Burdick. Traded to the Crushers from Schaumburg in spring training, in fact. He's had a pretty decent time of things against the Miners this year. Here's the 2-1. Backdoor slurve, just a bit low, and the count 3-1. 6 hits and 20 at-bats, 3 of which are doubles for Burdick this year against Southern Illinois pitching. Obviously, all of that was back in June, and a bunch of the Southern Illinois pitching he faced is no longer on the team. 3-1 pitch, fastball hit in the air center field, but this will be playable for Joe Duncan. Backing up, now coming back in, straight away center, he makes the catch. That retires the side. Lake Erie gets a run in the first on 2 hits. They also leave nobody on base. And the Miners come to bat, down a run here at Rent One Park. Back after this on 103.5 ESPN.com.
As we are getting ready for our knuckleball battle.
Sean Johnson, we do mean big. Here's the Miners starting lineup at 50 and 40 under 13th year manager and all-time Frontier League wins leader Mike Pinto. Yeltsin Gudino leads off at shortstop. Gianfranco Wawu, the DH, batting second. Jamie Smart is at first base hitting third. Kyle Davis in right field cleans up. Arturo Nieto catching and hitting in the 5-hole. Taylor Sparks looking to get righted here at home with the bat. He's at third base batting sixth. Joe Duncan looking to keep things going from Washington, and he is in the 7th spot in the order batting in center field. Jared Watkins is the second baseman hitting 8th, and Kervin Mesquite is in left field batting 9th. Sean Johnson is 6'7" out there on the pitcher's mound, and he's making his 4th appearance and start with Lake Erie, coming over from the Pacific Association, and before that was starting the season with the Gateway Grizzlies. Overall this year between Lake Erie and Gateway, 12 appearances, 3 starts, 3-2 with a 2.86 ERA. But 3-0. He has won each of his 3 starts, all of which at home in Avon, Ohio, with a 1.90 ERA this year for Lake Erie. 11 hits allowed in 19 innings with the Crushers, 5 runs, 4 earned, 6 walks, and 18 strikeouts. Yeltsin Gudino hitting .327 with a home run and 15 RBIs. He takes down and away with a fastball for ball 1. Sean Johnson's also been a member of the Normal Corn Belters and Evansville Otters rosters over the last 2 seasons. Originally from Lincoln, California. There's a fastball down and away, 2 balls and no strikes to Gudino. Lake Erie's defense, left to right in the outfield, is Farrar, Kraft, and Hubbard. Burdick at third, Marrero at short, Hill at second, Veith at first, De La Rosa doing the catching. For Sean Johnson, who kicks and fires a 2-0 fastball. It's down the middle but low, and the count now 3-0. Miners have seen Johnson a couple times, but both times as a relief pitcher and no times this year. Here comes a 3-0 pitch to Godinho. Taken all the way, and that's down the middle for a strike, and this time high enough to be in the zone. Godinho over the weekend, 3 for 13, a double and a run scored. Hit safely in his last 2 contests after going 0 for 5 on Friday night. He swings and laces one down the left field line. That'll be a base hit. Hopping down to the corner, it'll be an extra base hit. It'll be dug out by Farrar, and into second with an easy leadoff double is Yeltsin Godinho. Well, the tying runs in scoring position, 1-0 Lake Erie, the score here in the first. And here comes Gianfranco Wawu.
And now batting, number 9, Gianfranco Wawu.
Miners catching a little bit of a break in the top of the first. Single and double made it second and third, nobody outs. An RBI ground out brought in a run, but then on a almost wild pitch, the ball caromed right back to Arturo Nieto, who then caught Emmanuel Marrero in a rundown for the second out, before Marty Anderson induced a fly out to center to get out of trouble. Gianfranco Wawu hitting .299 with 9 home runs and 39 RBIs, 0 for 4 on Sunday, 6 for 9 in the 2 games before that. First pitch by Johnson is a called strike on the low outside corner, 0-1. Wawu's been Mr. Consistent for the Miners this year. 25 years old from Curacao. Enjoyed watching his the Little League team from Curacao make their run to the Little League World Series title game. Unfortunately, they finished as runners-up. There's a line shot up the middle toward the shortstop Marrero, who fields off the end of Wawu's bat, holds Godinho at second, and puts out Wawu over at first. There's out number 1. Here's Jamie Smart. Smart's been getting on base a bunch as of late. Walks and hit by pitches and the like. Sitting .288 now for the year with 5 homers and 53 RBIs. The Crushers shift a little bit on him, playing Aaron Hill a little bit deeper in the hole at second than they would normally. Shortstop Marrero kind of plays right behind the runner Godinho up the middle as Johnson fires. Fastball low and inside, 1-0. We got a lot of black and yellow in the house tonight, which happen to be kind of Miners colors. And the reason for that is the head coach going into the Southern Illinois High School Coaches Hall of Fame today from Goreville, baseball coach Sean Tripp. A lot of Goreville folks in the house as that pitch is down in the turf and nearly got away from De La Rosa, ball 2. Godinho holding at second. What I did not realize about Coach Tripp, who has led the Black Cats to 5 appearances in the state finals up in Peoria and won a state title in 2016, he used to be a player here in the Frontier League. His brother as well, Todd Tripp, who coaches the basketball team at Goreville and serves as the athletic director. There's a fastball just a bit high from Johnson. Now it's 3-0 on Jamie Smart. Todd Tripp and Sean Tripp both played in the early days of the Frontier League. Todd at Du Bois County, and Sean Tripp for the Kentucky Rifles in 1993. That was the second year of the Frontier League's existence. Johnson steps off the back of the rubber, the big right-hander wearing high purple socks underneath his gray pants and purple uniform. Lake Erie changing their color scheme a couple years ago from red, black, and white to purple and white. Godinho off second, 3-0 pitch off speed. There's a called strike on the outside corner. A couple of the fans didn't agree. Below me, it's 3-1. Interesting he'd throw a 3-0 breaking pitch. Did get it over for a strike. Johnson dealing from the stretch. 1-0 Lake Erie, bottom of the first. Godinho takes his lead. And here's a 3-1. Fastball just a bit low and outside, and there's a walk for Smarts. On base yet again. First and second, and coming up to the plate is Kyle Davis.
Number 10, Kyle Davis.
Davis had a hit on Sunday when 1 for 4 with a run scored. Overall this year hitting .287 for the Miners, 14 home runs, 57 runs batted in. When Lake Erie saw Davis last, Those were definitely not his offensive numbers. A righty versus righty matchup, run scoring situation here with Godinho and his good speed at second base. He represents the tying run early in this game as Johnson readies at the letters and deals. Breaking ball, bends low, big curveball there. 1 ball and no strikes to Davis. Now normal double play depth for the Lake Erie infield. Davis looking to get the ball into the outfield here. 1-0. Swung on, fouled back, straight back. Got a good rip on that fastball, elevated a little bit, and out over the plate, 1-1. Davis's batting average this month, an even .400 coming into this game. His bat getting scorching white hot was a big reason that the Miners got off to such a great start this month, winning 12 of their first 13 games. Now they are 16-7 here in the month of August, and right in the thick of the playoff chase. Here's the 1-1 by Johnson. A swing and a miss. It was an off-speed pitch up and in, maybe a changeup that kind of just sailed. Davis took a hack and could not make contact. 1-2. Johnson looking for a shutdown inning here already in the first. And he's ahead of Kyle Davis, a ball and 2 strikes. Johnson has a sign from De La Rosa and deals a 1-2. Another swing and a miss on the off speed, and he struck him out. There's out number 2 here in the first.
Number 23.
Brings up Arturo Nieto. Nieto had a pretty good series. He was the backstop for 2 shutouts for the Miners, and he went 3 for 8 in those 2 games at the plate with a walk and a run scored. He's riding a 4-game hit streak into this game overall. And the overall batting average for Nieto at .230 with 2 home runs and 18 runs batted in. .269 with men in scoring position this year. Runners at first and second, 2 outs. It'll take a base hit or a Lake Erie mistake to score a run after a leadoff double by Yeltsin Godinho. After that, a ground out by Wawu in front of Godinho, holding him there. A walk by Smart, but a strikeout of Davis. Righty versus righty once again. Here is the pitch by Johnson. Fastball drilled in the air to center field, but right there is Steven Kraft to make the catch. That ball was hit like a rocket, but did not find any green space, and the Miners strand a leadoff runner in scoring position in the first. After 1 here at Rent One Park, 1-0 Lake Erie on 103.5 ESPN.com. Big power hitting lefty first baseman, hitting 256, 16 home runs, and 54 driven in. Leads the Crushers in RBIs. The 0-1 from Anderson. Another pitch that was aimed toward the inside edge, but missed inside this time, 1-1. They're about to get underway at Ozinga Field. Schaumburg is at Windy City. At Bosse Field, Evansville with a quick 2-0 lead on Gateway. 1-1 pitch. Swing and a miss on the breaking ball. That had some good lateral movement to it. And the count 1-2. Couple of hits leading off the first inning turned into the Crushers' first run, thanks to a big bounce off the backstop. That's all that Lake Erie got. 1-2 fastball is outside for ball 2. Not a breath of wind to speak of. Luckily for Kyle Davis's sake, sun is not shining in his eyes anymore. In right. There's a 2-2. A check swing foul off of the bats and into the nets. Veith is trying to say he was hit by the pitch. Todd Odell is examining the hand of Veith, and apparently it was a hit by pitch. Boy, Veith must be the quickest bruiser in the history of the world. In order for that to be what decides what the umpire's ruling is. Brings up Stephen Kraft, 299, 2 homers, 37 RBIs. And Anderson holds a set of the letters and delivers. First pitch fastball in for a strike, 0-1. Kraft was let go by the minors at the end of spring training this year. And that might be a decision that is regretted down the road. Guy who makes a lot of contact from the right-hand side. 0-1, fastball, called strike on the high inside edge. And now Anderson way ahead of Kraft. Kraft has not only hit for a high average, he's also stolen 25 bases this year for Lake Erie. He's played all over the field. Veith over at first, with nobody out in the second inning, 1-0 Crushers. Anderson deals an 0-2 pitch. Fastball upstairs, 1 ball, 2 strikes. The 1-2. Backdoor slurve, and there's a pitch just inside. Count 2-2. That didn't miss by much. Lefty to righty matchup, and here comes a break-even pitch to Stephen Kraft. Fastball pumped over the outside corner, frozen for strike 3. The Sasa strikeout for Marty Anderson, brought to you by First Southern Bank. Local people, local decisions, community banking at its best.
Now batting for 37.
It brings up Dre Hubbard. Lefty to righty once again. Hubbard hitting 176, 2 homers, 5 RBIs. He takes a slurve on the inside corner for a strike, 0-1. Veith at first with 1 out. Here's the 0-1. Hubbard swings and fouls one back into the net, strike 2. Leadoff hit by pitch on a 2-2 counts allowed Veith to get on. Not a huge lead for Veith over at first, not a big base stealer. 0-2 pitch to Hubbard. Here it comes from Anderson. Breaking ball is fouled off down the right field line. And onto the concourse, still 0-2. Hubbard also a late season signing for the Lake Erie Crushers out of Eastvale, California. Played in the Pacific Association this year and played overseas last year in the Czech Republic as well. It'll be an 0-2 once again from Anderson. The left-hander delivers. Off speed, swung on, fouled back off of the catcher's mask, I think. Still 0-2. Big swing by Hubbard there. And with Eastvale, California being his hometown, perhaps he knows Gabe Gentner, who's also from Eastvale. Hubbard this year in 41 games in the Pacific Association was a big power threat, 364, 16 homers in only 41 games. Another 0-2 by Anderson. A little bit up and away with a fastball, 1-2. 1-0 Lake Erie here in the top of the second. An RBI ground out by Farrar. In the first inning, got Lake Erie the game's first run. Anderson holds the set. And here comes a 1-2 pitch. Breaking ball drilled down the left field line, but foul. Out in front was Hubbard. And it's still 1-2. A lot of pitches here in the early going for Anderson. Of course, the Miners coming off of an off day and a series where they didn't have to use their bullpen. They are fresh if needed. Lefty to righty. Here's another 1-2. Fastball fouled off to the right this time and out of play. Still a ball and 2 strikes on Hubbard, whose full name is Dondre. Goes by Dre Hubbard. Anderson stares in, gets a sign from Nieto. Sets up inside. Here's a 1-2. Fastball, broken bat grounder back toward the mound. It kicks off the glove of Anderson. Glove by Godinho. He lobs one to second but has no play. And unfortunately for Anderson, he may have cost the Miner shortstop an out over at first. He was coming in on it. Well, Nieto wanted it in. Anderson got it in, broke his bat, but couldn't get the outs. First and second now with one away. And it brings up Brian De La Rosa, who's hitting .207 with 3 homers and 20 RBIs this year. Veteran catcher for the Crushers. And a right-handed batter. Anderson has the sign and his first pitch to De La Rosa. Fastball just high, 1 ball, no strikes. Now Veith at second and Hubbard behind him at first. 1-0 pitch to De La Rosa. Swing and a miss, good breaking ball down and in. 1-1. Jason Garrett with you here at Rent One Park in Marion. First game of this 3-game series. Vitally important to the Southern Illinois Miners. Also pretty important to Lake Erie. Time is called at the plate by Arturo Nieto. Miners play their infield double play depth all around, looking for a ground ball. Anderson sets. Takes a glance back toward Veith at second. Here's the 1-1. Swung on and shot toward the right side. That'll sneak into the right field area for a base hit. Rounding third is Veith. He's coming home. The throw into the plate is not cut off, and it's also not in time. A little bloop RBI single by Brian De La Rosa. Going first to third is Hubbard, and Lake Erie leads 2-0. Oh, what did this inning get started with, folks? It was not a leadoff walk, but it was a leadoff hit by pitch, and that's the same thing. De La Rosa has a nasty habit of murdering the Miners every time he sees them. Up comes Zach Rakusin, the designated hitter, also a righty. 268. 2 home runs, 30 RBIs. Runners at the corners, still only 1 out. First pitch by Anderson. Fastball just a bit low. Count is 1-0. Todd Odell's strike zone is pretty darn tight here in the early going. Well, Anderson now looking to minimize the damage. A rare hit allowed with men in scoring position there to De La Rosa. 1-0 again, lined into right field. That's another base hit. And now it's 3-0 Lake Erie.
Now batting number 11, Aaron Hill.
Back to the top of the order now in Aaron Hill, and for the Miners, this is a Lake Erie team that is the best pitching staff in the entire league by pretty much any number you want to say. Miners can't really afford to fall behind by too much. Out goes Tyler Martin to talk to Marty Anderson. Not the start that the Miners wanted so far. First and second, and still only one out. This inning began with what else? A leadoff free base runner. And we've gone into great detail about how much the Miners have been absolutely killed by the leadoff walker hit by pitch this year. About 1/4 of the runs allowed on the year are in innings that begin in that fashion. It is really the only thing holding the Miners pitching staff back statistically from being pretty darn solid. And they're pretty darn solid even without that. 3.90 team ERA. About 40 less hits than innings pitched. 749 strikeouts coming in, which is about the middle of the league. But those walks, man. First pitch, backdoor breaking ball is a called strike to Aaron Hill, who singled in his first at bats. He also scored a run in the first. Count is 0-1 here. De La Rosa at second, Racusin at first. 3 runs now home for Lake Erie. The 0-1. Ground ball to shortstop could be 2. Godinho has it go off the heel of his glove, flips it to Watkins. There's 1. Quick turn to first is not in time. And Yeltsin Godinho is down and writhing in pain. And this is a hold your breath moment for Southern Illinois. I'm not entirely sure what just happened. Ball was hit right at both the base runner leading off in De La Rosa, and Godinho kind of screened by De La Rosa. Couldn't glove the ball cleanly. He then recovered and made the out at second for the second out of the inning. Godinho now on his knees, being looked at by the Miners trainer Brad Brush and Mike Pinto as well. I'm not entirely sure if this was an injury where the ball came up and hit him, or if it's something else. He's trying to follow the ball, obviously, trying to take you through the play. Godinho helped to his feet. And he's now kind of getting on his tiptoes, trying to maybe stretch something out in his lower body. Looks like Godinho is going to stay in the game. Got kind of a smile on his face now. So there's the second out of the inning. Hill reaches on the fielder's choice. Put out is Racusin, 6-4 for out number 1, or 2, excuse me. And up comes Emmanuel Marrero, as Marty Anderson is going to look to hold Lake Erie to 2 here in the second. Marrero is 1 for 1 with a double over the head of Davis in right field, looking into the sunlight. Last inning, he was then put out between third and home on a almost wild pitch that came back to Nieto off the backstop. First pitch to Marrero. Swing and a miss on the backdoor slurve. It is 0-1. Over at third base is De La Rosa. At first base, Hill. 2 outs as Anderson tries to minimize the damage. Lefty to switch, batting right. The 0-1. Change up, down and away. 1 ball, 1 strike. Anderson has thrown a lot of pitches here in the first 2 innings. He looks in, gets a sign from Nieto for another one. 1-1 to Marrero. Runner goes for second. Pitches low. A bluff and a throw to second base. Now the throw to third. And the throw back home hits the runner. And now the umpire can't get out of the way of Nieto. Going to third on the play is Hill. And now it is 4-0 Lake Erie. The Miners read that perfectly. They started Hill for second to try and draw a throw and bring De La Rosa home. The Miners read it well. They had De La Rosa on the run, and the throw by Sparks hits the back of the runner, and he scores to make it a 4-run lead. That's a terrible break for Southern Illinois. 2-1 pitch, high chopper back to the mound. It's gloved by Anderson. He'll throw it down to first, and that ends a really rough second inning. 3-run score for Lake Erie. A broken bat infield hit, a hit by pitch, and a throw that hits the back of a runner heading home who was dead to rights. Well, the Miners find themselves down big, and we'll see if they can recover here. Still plenty of baseball left. Back after this on 1035ESPN.com. The second inning, and Taylor Sparks takes strike 1 from Sean Johnson. A very rough top of the second. Miners trail 4-0. There was a hit by pitch, a broken bat infield hit, and an error in that frame. 0-1 swung on, driven deep in the air to right field. Backing up is Hubbard. He looks up, and this ball sails out of here and toward the batting cage. Fly by night away from here for Taylor Sparks. His 9th home run as a Southern Illinois Miner, and the Miners get right back with 1 run in the bottom of the second. It's now 4-1. That breaks up an 0 for 18 streak at the plate for Taylor Sparks, who committed the error with his throw home, hitting the back of a runner heading home on a double steal.
Joe Duncan.
And he atones for the sin there, bringing up Joe Duncan. Jared Watkins to follow. Sean Johnson is back out there for the Crushers for his second inning of work. First pitch to Duncan is in for a strike with a fastball, 0-1. Good to see Sparks crushing a baseball once again. There's a breaking ball that's up and in, ball one on Duncan, who's hitting .249 with a homer and 37 RBIs. Had an excellent series in Washington this weekend, going 5 for 9, 4 of his 5 hits being doubles. Also drawing 3 walks. He enters on a 6-game hit streak. 1-1 pitch is taken upstairs once again, 2-1. Righty versus righty, and here's a 2-1 by Johnson. Another fastball upstairs, 3 balls, 1 strike. 4 runs on 5 hits in the first 2 innings for the Lake Erie Crushers. One of the runs is unearned from the top of this frame on Marty Anderson. Here comes the 3-1 pitch. Fastball drilled high in the air into right field. Toward the line comes Hubbard. This is going to stay in the yard, and Hubbard makes the catch. That retires Duncan for out number 1.
Number 40, Jared Watkins.
Up comes Jared Watkins. Both he and Kervin Mesquite had 0 for 20 streaks entering the weekend at some point. Both were able to break up their streaks on RBI hits. For Watkins, he steps in hitting .220 with 10 RBIs on the year. Righty to lefty, here's the pitch by Johnson. Fastball fouled off to the left and out of play, strike 1. Now it's a 4-1 ball game, as Sparks does what Sparks does. That's the first time he's gone the other way with one of those monstrous home runs. He's gone to left and center several times. That fastball cuts inside on Watkins, 1-1. Sparks had been struggling mightily with the batting average. 1-1 fastball sails outside, and it's 2 balls and 1 strike. Even so, with a .224 average coming into that at bat, a slugging percentage of over 500. 9 home runs, now 7 doubles and 1 triple for Taylor Sparks, as that fastball misses below the knees to Watkins, and now the count 3-1. First home run by the Miners in quite some time as well. They didn't hit one over the weekend. 3-1 pitch by Johnson. Fastball swung on foul, tipped off of the lid of De La Rosa. Kind of a glancing blow there, 3-2. Vitally important week for the Miners. Last week of the regular season, of course. 1.5 games back of a playoff spot behind River City. River City is idle tonight, as is Florence. Both of them starting their series tomorrow. 3-2 pitch, a rocket toward right center field, falling fast, and Stephen Kraft is able to slide down to the turf and make the catch. A little too much air under that well-struck ball once again. Up comes Kervin Mesquite. Miners making pretty solid contact against Johnson so far. There have been a couple of balls into center field that have not been able to get down in time, not been able to sit, as they say. Switch hitter batting left-handed is Kervin Mesquite at 190 with 5 RBIs, an RBI double on Sunday as he shows bunts. Takes a called strike on the extreme inside edge. Mesquite didn't like the call. Todd Odell, tonight's home plate umpire. Miners have not seen him at all this year. The wind in the 0-1. That fastball's low at 90 miles an hour from Johnson. Count is 1-1. 4-1 Lake Erie now in the second inning. Here's the 1-1 pitch by Johnson. That's outside. Off-speed pitch there. 2 balls, 1 strike to Curvin Mesquite. Johnson has the sign from De La Rosa. 2-1 pitch, banged up the middle, glances off the pitcher's glove. It'll roll toward Marrero, but he'll have no play on Mesquite, who flies up the line. It's an infield hit for Curvin Mesquite. And now he's on base for the top of the order in Yeltsin Gudino.
And now batting, number 4, Yeltsin Gudino.
Gudino got in a 3-1 count in his first at bat and then lined a double to left. He represented the tying run at the time. He did not end up moving from second base, as the Miners could not execute. He comes up here with a fast runner on first in Curvin Mesquite. Johnson set now from the stretch with 1 on and 2 outs. And the pitch to Gudino. Taken for a strike at the knee level. 0-1 to Yeltsin. Signed with the Miners in late July, and Miners took off shortly after he signed, in fact. At the start of August, they won on August 1st against Joliet. That kicked off a 10-game win streak, the longest in the league this year by any team. There's a fastball below the knees, 1-1. In fact, the Miners, incidentally, have the 2 longest win streaks of any team in the league this year. Their 8-gamer in June is the 2nd longest in the circuit this season. Mesquite with a good lead off first. And here is the 1-1. Breaking ball reached for a little bit by Gudino. He was able to get a piece and roll it up the third base line. Count is 1-2. 1 strike away is Johnson from minimizing the damage to 1. Mesquite can run. De La Rosa's got a really great arm behind the plate, though. We'll see if he tries it. 1-2 on Gudino. Johnson will spin and fire to first. Diving back in, Yeltsin Gudino. Or Curvin Mesquite. Mesquite and Gudino were teammates for the Frederick Keys this year in the Orioles organization. Now both are Miners. Johnson once again gets a sign, and here comes a 1-2. Runner goes, pitch is slapped to third. Burdick has it. He'll set and throw across the diamond, a little bit offline, but stretching out his Veith to make the play. That retires the side. Miners get on the board. They get a run back with a solo homer by Taylor Sparks. 1 run on 2 hits, 1 left. After 2, it is 4-1 Lake Erie on 1035ESPN.com. this is third full year in the Frontier League, and fourth overall. First pitch, Farrar tries to reach for and bunt a off-speed pitch by Anderson, misses it for strike one. Farrar 0 for 1 with a ground out to short that brought in the game's first run in the first inning. Anderson deals lefty to lefty, the 0-1 pitch. It's off speed and a called strike on the inside edge, 0-2. Miners got 1 run back after the 3-run top of the second by the Crushers on a solo home run by Sparks. As Farrar waits for the breaking ball, flies it in a shallow left toward the line, racing in Mesquite. He makes the catch on the move. Gotta love the closing speed. And there's out number 1. That's the first time the Miners have retired the Lake Erie leadoff man in this game. It's no secret. That's been said all throughout, really, baseball history. You retire the leadoff man, you're going to have a good chance of having success on the mound. That's not even a newfangled modern statistic. There's a first pitch fastball strike at the knees to Burdick, who flew out to center his first time up. Miners in action tonight, also Evansville in action tonight. The other 2 West Division contenders are both off as Burdick hits one off the end of the bats and into the Miners' dugouts. Rattling around there in the stairwell area. It's count as 0-2. We'll give you an official out-of-town scoreboard in a bit. And Evansville does have a 3-0 lead at home against Gateway. There's a fastball below the knees. Count is 1-2 on Dale Burdick. Pretty much he's been the everyday third baseman for Lake Erie this year. The wind and the 1-2 by Anderson. Fouled straight back. We'll do it again at 1-2. Florence will be hosting Joliet in a doubleheader tomorrow, and just a 2-game series between River City and Washington and O'Fallon, Missouri beginning tomorrow as well. 1-2 pitch. Breaking ball, pretty good one. A lot of movement on it, but just missing low and inside for ball 2. Those 2 games between River City and Washington, the last 2 regular season Frontier League games ever at Carshield Field. 2-2, swing and a miss. Another breaking ball, and that one looked kind of like a splitter. It just kind of fell straight downward from Anderson. It's his second Casasa strikeout, and out number 2 here in the third, brought to you by First Southern Bank. Local people, local decisions, community banking at its best. Here's Jake Veith, who reached on a hit by pitch. And a hit by pitch for which he had to show the home plate umpire his hand in order to get the call. He also later scored on the RBI single by De La Rosa. Swinging a twisted foul pop-up off the left field side and into the seats, strike 1. Anderson looking for a scoreless inning. Bases empty, 2 outs, 4-1 Lake Erie, top of the third, and Anderson winds and deals. Fastball, good one on the inside corner, strike 2. That ball had some zip to it at 87 miles an hour. 1 strike away is Anderson from bringing it into the third. He gets the sign, and here's the 0-2. Swung on, fouled off. We'll do it again, once again at 0-2. Night falling here in Marion. This isn't what you would call exactly a sprint of a ball game so far. Another 0-2 pitch. Off speed and just below the knees again, 1-2. It's kind of ironic that Anderson has given up the 4 runs, 3 earned, and only 1 free base runner. It was the leadoff hit by pitch of Veith in the second. 1-2. Just inside, count 2-2. And Anderson's not really missing by much on a bunch of these pitches. Left-hander's break-even pitch. Breaking ball, ground ball to the right side, and a lunging attempt by Watkins. He's able to knock it down, but has no play. That'll be an infield hit for Veith, denying Anderson a 1-2-3 inning. And up comes Steven Kraft. 6 hits allowed by Anderson in 3 innings. That really doesn't happen. We told you when he struggles, it's the walks that get to him. Steven Kraft struck out looking in his first up bat. He's 0 for 1. Veith off of first, held on by Jamie Smarts. First pitch by Anderson. Just a bit high and outside, 1-0. And he got started with a fly out to left off the bat of Farrar. Burdick struck out. And Veith worked the count from 0-2 to find a near hole on the right side. 1-0 fastball, sails upstairs, 2-0. Anderson comes set from the third base side of the rubber. 2-0 pitch to Kraft. Fastball, good strike on the outer third. 2-1. Kraft, a second-year pro out of the Pirates organization. Again, was with the minors in spring training. Gainesville, Virginia, his hometown. Played at Western Kentucky for 4 years. 1 on, 2 out, and the 2-1 is swung through and missed. Good fastball there. Kraft reaching for it. And the count 2-2, and once again 1 strike away is Anderson from ending the third. Looking to put up a 0. Keep it a 3-run ball game, 4-1 in favor of Lake Erie here at this juncture. Anderson's 2-2. Just a bit high and in, 3 balls, 2 strikes, and now Veith will be on the move on the next pitch with a full count and 2 outs in the inning. Smart will hold him close once again. Anderson looks over at first base, now delivers a payoff. Low and inside, he walked him. That's the first walk of the game by Anderson, but second free base runner. Back-to-back with 2 outs brings up Dre Hubbard. Hubbard broke his bats, grounded one toward the left side of the mound, and Anderson, lunging to try and get it himself, had it just tick off his glove. Had it gotten through him, Godinho, I think, would have made the play coming in from shortstop. He ended up scoring on the single by Rakusin, which brought home the Crushers' 4th run. Lefty to righty, Anderson kicks and fires. Backdoor slurve in there for a strike, right at the knee level. No balls, 1 strike to Hubbard. Pair of base runners for Lake Erie with 2 outs here in the top of the 3rd inning. Catcher sets up inside once again, and here is an 0-1. Swing and a miss. That ball did not get too far inside, but Hubbard, with a gigantic swing, couldn't make contact, and it's 0-2. And for the 3rd batter in a row, Anderson needs 1 more strike to end the frame. Veith off of second. Kraft with a good lead at first, not being held on. Jamie Smart playing behind him. The 0-2. Fastball up and in, 1-2. Anderson gathers, getting the sign from his veteran backstop. And now the 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss, struck him out on a high fastball. Got him swinging out of his shoes there. A Casasa strikeout, his second of the inning and third of the game for Marty Anderson. Ends the frame. Brought to you by First Southern Bank. Local people, local decisions. Community banking at its best. No runs, one hit, two left for Lake Erie. We head to the bottom of the third, 4-1. Crushers in front on 103.5 ESPN.com.
The red stove is Maverick. Just call me Goose.
Homestand for the Miners. Gianfranco Wawoo, Jamie Smart, and Kyle Davis due up.
Gianfranco Wawoo.
Wawoo grounded out to shortstop in his first at bat. He's 0 for 1. Sean Johnson, the 6'7" right-hander, back to work. 39 pitches through the first 2 innings. Miners have made him throw a little bit. The wind in the first pitch to Wawoo. Fastball a little bit high. 1 ball, no strikes. It's now time to give you a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard. Only 2 other games going on, so it's a short one. The 1-0 pitch to Wawoo. Breaking ball, good check swing by Wawoo there. He held. And the count 2-0. Out-of-town scoreboards are brought to you by Buffalo Wild Wings. Quit eating your burgers off a coffee table. If you want to eat a burger, put it on a bar. Follow your instincts to Buffalo Wild Wings for the new All-American Cheeseburger. Johnson's 2-0 pitch. That's a called strike on the inside edge. 2-1. Evansville 3-0. They lead Gateway at Bosse Field, top of the 4th. Schaumburg leading 1-0 early against Windy City. They're in the top of the 3rd up in Crestwood. And there's your full out-of-town scoreboard. Florence, Joliet, Washington, River City all in action tomorrow as Wawoo flies one off the first baseline and foul and out of play to even the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Obviously, Florence and River City paying close attention to what happens in this game. Also the Evansville game. All 4 contending West Division teams within 3 games of each other entering the final 6 games of the regular year. 2-2 pitch is fought off past the mound, caroming out to second base where Hill gobbles it up and throws out Wawoo for the first out of the inning.
Number 30, Jamie Smart.
Up comes Jamie Smart, who drew a walk on 5 pitches in his plate appearance in the first. Miners need your support, Miners fans, this entire week. Tomorrow, game 2 of the series, feature Andrew Bernstein for the Miners and Jared Koenig for the Lake Erie Crushers. 6:35 first pitch. Jamie Smart takes a fastball just outside, didn't miss by much, 1-0. Ryan McAuliffe, fresh off of his complete game 9-inning shutout on Friday night in Washington, will take the mound in the series finale on Thursday. Lake Erie's yet to name their starter for that game. 1-0. taken at the knee level this time, 1-1. And then comes the weekend against Evansville. Miners hoping to remain in contention this week. Get a little closer, of course. As the 1-1 misses high from Johnson, 2-1. They're currently 3 games behind Evansville for the division lead. The Miners are. It's entirely possible that the entire year could come down to that one series. One thing we can guarantee you is that Chase Cunningham will be on the mound on Friday. 2-1 fastball just off the plate outside, 3-1 on Jamie Smart for the second straight plate appearance. Smart was not a Miner when the Lake Erie Crushers and Miners last tangled in June. A slight shift over to the right side for him. He swings at the 3-1 and grounds it foul back behind the plate, now 3-2. Of course, they shift Smart to pull. Smart has beaten similar shifts this year. 3-2 pitch by Johnson. Fastball fouled off. Smart stays alive. 91 miles an hour there from the big guy. Talk about your sizable matchup. 6'7" Johnson against the 6'4" Jamie Smart. Three balls and 2 strikes, bases empty, 1 out on the pitch. Breaking ball hit high in the air in the center, but this will stay playable for Kraft, who can't find it for a second, and luckily he's right near where it ends up going. And that's out number 2.
Number 10, Kyle Davis.
Brings up Kyle Davis, who's 0 for 1 with a strikeout in his first at-bats. That was with a man in scoring position and 1 out. It is the only strikeout that Johnson has in the game so far. Johnson's bounced around between the Frontier League and Pacific Associations ever since he started his professional career. Last year he split time with the Pittsburgh Diamonds as well as Evansville and Normal. This year, Gateway and Lake Erie, and also Napa. There's a breaking ball fouled off by Davis for strike 1. 4-1 Lake Erie here in the bottom of the 3rd inning at Rent One Park. Johnson with a 5.95 ERA as a starter with Napa this year before being traded to the Lake Erie Crushers. There's a fastball that skips away from De La Rosa back to the backstop, ball 1. In general, he has struggled as a relief pitcher in the Frontier League, but these last 3 starts he's made, this is number 4 with the Crushers, have been pretty solid. The 1-1 pitch. Swing and a miss on the fastball. A little bit late on the swing was Davis, 1-2. He was actually a closer. 7 saves with the Diamonds last year in the Pacific Association. So he's been all over the map. There's a fastball swung through and missed again, and Davis now 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts. A 1-2-3 bottom of the 3rd for Sean Johnson. We head to the 4th, still 4-1 Lake Erie on 103.5 ESPN.com.
From all of us here at Rent One Park.
2-0 pitch. It's outside 3-0. Entering this frame, 73 pitches by our count. About 2/3 of them are strikes. Obviously, a little bit too many of them have been hits, but you get the point. 3-0 pitch is way inside, and that's a leadoff walk. And that, as Miners fans know, is no bueno. We did the research earlier this year, at the end of July, in fact, after a particularly rough stretch of leadoff walks leading to bad innings. And we were able to deduce that about 1 out of every 3 runs the Miners had allowed on the year was in an inning where that began with a hit by pitch or a walk. It's gone down to about 1 in every 4, thanks to a pretty sterling August in this regard. In the Miners' 10-game win streak, they're 12 out of 13 in the win column earlier this month. We hardly had to talk about it because it hardly ever happened. Miners pitching just retired the leadoff man regularly. First pitch, a backdoor slider for a strike to Zach Rakusin. It's 0-1. Rakusin 1 for 1 with an RBI single, also the other way through to right field in his first at-bats. De La Rosa can run 6 out of 7 this year. The 0-1 pitch. Fastball outside. And the count 1-1. Miners coming in off of a sweep of Washington, 3 wins in a row. 50-40 record, exactly the same as Lake Erie. 1-1 pitch. Breaking ball that's around the plate inside, 2-1. Clearly the division to be in this year is the East Division. Every single other team in the East, aside from Lake Erie, is under 500. Here's a 2-1 to Rakusin. Anderson deals. Fastball grounded toward shortstop. This could be 2. Godinho flips it to Watkins. There's 1. Turn to first, double play. And 2 up now and 2 down in a roundabout way. Top of the order, Aaron Hill comes up, but with nobody on base. That's a pitcher's best friend, especially after a leadoff walk. And for Hill, he is 1 for 2 with a run scored. A single leading off the game in the first into right. Lefty to righty, the first pitch by Anderson is down low on the breaking pitch. 1-0. Anderson from the full windup with nobody on base. 4-1 Lake Erie, top of the 4th. Here's the pitch. Fastball, good one on the outside edge. Outer third of the plate. 1 ball, 1 strike. 4 runs on 6 hits for Lake Erie. 1 run on 3 hits for Southern Illinois. There's a check swing on a fastball. It's a called strike on the outside corner. And a count 1-2 on Aaron Hill. The Yukon product. Former Yukon Husky, played all 4 years there in college. Joined the Crushers last year, was the Frontier League's Rookie of the Year, hitting .297 while playing in all 96 games. And hitting for a decent bit of power as well. 1-2 fastball is outside, 2-2. 5 home runs, but also 22 doubles. A decent amount of which have turned into homers this year, as Hill has 12 long balls. Lefty to righty, and here's the wind and the 2-2 pitch by Anderson. Off speed, and fouled off to the right and out of play by Hill. Anderson stares in for the sign from Nieto, gets one, and here's another 2-2 pitch. In on the fists and a check swing foul tip. Still 2-2. The interesting thing about Hill having hits in the high 200s last 2 years. He was never really that much of a hitter in college. Career average of 205 in 181 games at UConn. 2-2 fastball is just low and inside, 3-2. Raps Hill is a bit of a late bloomer in baseball. On deck, Emmanuel Marrero. And the line in the full count pitch by Anderson. Line shot over shortstop, a base hit into left. Hill with his second hit of the night and the 7th hit for Lake Erie off of Anderson. And the 7 hits against him have now tied a season high for any opponent against Marty. Gateway had 7 hits in 6 1/3 innings back on June 30th. So Marrero will get an at-bat here, 1 for 2 with a double and a ground ball back to the pitcher. As the top of the 4th inning continues. Anderson holds, looks over at the runner, and will step off and throw to first. Quick tag applied on the thigh of Hill, it looked like, but not in time, according to Joe Harris. Marrero having an outstanding year at shortstop. That's quite a double play combination at the top of the order for Lake Erie this year, with Hill at second. There's an off-speed pitch by Anderson and misses low for ball 1. And another extended inning here. Began with a leadoff walk, then a double play erased it. Then an 8-pitch at bats for Hill. Eventually getting on with a single after falling behind 1 and 2. Here's a 1-0 pitch by Anderson. Nope, a step and a toss to first. There's one thing about Marty Anderson. He is a guy who pitches to the beat of his own drum. The MLB pace of play people would very much dislike Marty. Here's a 1-0 and another toss to first. And the thing is, though, it's worked for him. You look at the numbers with men on base for Anderson this year, they're absolutely outstanding. So obviously, it keeps working, so stick to doing it if you're Marty. 1 on and 2 out. Here's a 1-0 pitch to Marrero. Backdoor slurve. And a mock swing there after Marrero was completely fooled on the breaking pitch. He decided to swing well after the ball hit Nieto's glove. The count is 1-1. Marrero was so out in front of that slurve he couldn't even swing until it was too late. Another step and a throw, and they've got Hill picked, but the throw is low, and Smart tries to recover and cannot. Now, Miner's execution level on defense tonight is just a tad off. They got Hill completely dead to rights, but a low throw by Anderson. They'll give a stolen base to Hill, his 22nd of the year, and now he's in scoring position. The count is still 1-1 to Marrero. Lefty to switch batting rights. And the 1-1. Driven down the left field side, but well foul and onto the lawn section, out of play 1 and 2. Yet again, 1 strike away is Anderson from ending the inning. He had trouble ending the inning last frame. Got ahead 0-2 with bases empty and 2 outs. Allowed 2 base runners, then eventually did get the final outs with no runs allowed. Anderson with a long stare in with the glove on his front hip. He brings the glove and left hand together. Here comes the 1-2 pitch home to Marrero. Fastball, and Marrero almost swung at that, but took it for ball 2. 4-1 Lake Erie, as night has fallen here in Marion. It'll be a 2-2 to Marrero, and here it comes. Ground ball wide of third, a diving stop by Sparks. He knocks it down, but cannot make a play anywhere. That's an infield hit for Marrero, and that is not the first time that has happened to the Miners defensively. The dive and the stop by Sparks does save a run for the moment. That is the third time in the last 3 innings that Lake Erie has hit a ground ball on the infield that has been just far enough away from a fielder to allow that batter to reach. Hubbard, Veith, and now a Marrero. Logan Farrar is 0 for 2. He flew out to left in his last at bat. An RBI ground out to shortstop in the first. Swing and a miss on the good breaking ball, and count is 0-1. Farrar, one of the new faces on the Lake Erie team that the Miners hadn't seen in the 2 previous series between the 2 clubs. Had a pretty big impact for Lake Erie, hitting well over 300 in limited action. 0-1 fastball misses high, 1-1. There's still 2 outs in this inning. And double play hit into by Rakusin seems like it was ages ago. Anderson once again up over 20 this inning, approaching 100 for the game. Lefty to lefty, the 1-1 pitch to Farrar. Broken bat liner off the glove of Anderson, but it caroms right to Sparks this time, and his throw across is in time. Well, the Miners catch a break on one of those finally here in the 4th inning, and that helps Anderson through a scoreless frame. No runs on 2 hits with 2 left, and after 3.5, it's still 4-1 Lake Erie on 103.5 ESPN.com.
On the board, a baseball.
About an hour and a half into the game, and only through 3.5, and that is because of the lack of efficiency generally by the starting pitchers Anderson and Johnson. Lake Erie has gotten the better of it so far. They have a 4-1 lead here at Rent One Park in the first game of this regular season ending 6-game homestand for the Miners. Arturo Nieto, Taylor Sparks, and Joe Duncan do up. Nieto hit a laser to center field. Very loud line drive, but right at the center fielder Kraft in his first at-bats. Johnson, with a 1-2-3 third, is now at 55 pitches by our count. And the first pitch here is in there for a strike. Miners, 1 run, was off the bat of Sparks. A solo home run deep over the right field wall. Miners have a right-hander up and throwing, and that's because Anderson, by our count, is at 97 pitches through 4. As there's a swing and a miss. Big swing by Nieto, and it's 0-2. Looks like Jake Waters out there, and it is. Right-hander signing with the Miners in the last week. Last 2 weeks, I should say. Here's the 0-2. Swinging a pop-up off the end of the bat a little bit, straight back and out of play over everything. And Nieto still behind 0-2. Miners trying to make a comeback here, especially with Evansville holding a lead over Gateway at home. There's the 0-2 pitch. Fastball just a bit outside. He tried the corner and missed, 1-2. Johnson's wind and 1-2 pitch is a breaking ball slapped to shortstop. It's gloved by Marrero at the waist. His throw across the diamond is in time, 1 away.
Now batting, number 7, Taylor Sparks.
Up comes Sparks, who took Johnson deep oppo in his first at-bat, his 9th home run as a minor. A solo shot that got Southern Illinois on the board. It's been 4-1 ever since. Sparks was just about as hot as anybody earlier this month, and the Miners were on their hot streak. A 13-game hit streak for Sparks, and that was a hit streak with a bunch of power, too. Pitch by Johnson, breaking ball, but it misses high, ball 1. Into the line, Johnson. Here's his 1-0. That's a fastball just inside, 2 balls and no strikes. Well, perhaps that home run by Sparks will get his bat going again. The Miners would love that, as he was 0 for 18 entering that at bat that he hit the home run in between RBI extra base hits. 2-0's taken on the inside edge for a strike, 2-1. It's possible that Anderson is done after 97 pitches in 4 innings. The 2-1 pitch to Sparks, waving a miss on the breaking pitch, down and away, 2-2. Johnson even in the counts. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Here's his break even. Another breaking ball, hit in the air center field fairly deep. Backing up Kraft. Shy of the warning track, he will back up onto the track now and make the catch. That ball kept on carrying.
Number 6, Joe Duncan.
And that is out number 2 here in the 4th inning, and the Miners have now been retired 6 in a row by Sean Johnson since the infield hit off the bat of Kervin Mesquite in the 2nd inning. Joe Duncan got into a hitter's count and flew out to fairly deep right in his first at bat. 0 for 1, riding a 6-game hit streak into this one. First pitch here, called strike by Johnson. Miners have been out hit tonight 8-3. Johnson into the wind. 0-1 fastball, slapped to shortstop. 2 bouncer right to Marrero. His throw down in the turf is picked out by Veith. And the Miners are retired in order for the 2nd inning in a row. We head to the 5th. It is still 4-1 Lake Erie on 103.5 ESPN.com.
Thank you for coming out. Lucky, what are you doing, buddy? What do you mean you don't know?
He's not allowed a run of his own. He's made 2 previous appearances. He's given up 1 hit and 1 walk in 2 2/3 innings with 1 strikeout. And overall, 1 for 7 is the league against Jake Waters.
Leading off at number 5 for the Crushers.
I'm going to try and see what's up here. I don't know why he's not in the stats. He should be. Anyway, he'll face Dale Burdick leading off. Burdick, Veith, and Kraft due up. Yeah, he is active on point streak. Just not in the stats for some reason. There's a fastball outside, 1-0. Burdick, a right-handed hitter, is 0 for 2 with a strikeout. He'll be followed by a lefty, Veith, and then another righty, Kraft, as Waters fires. There's a strike on the outside edge at 86 miles an hour. Waters dealing from a lower arm slot. Pitched in the Pecos League this year for the Pecos League champion Alpine Cowboys, where he was a teammate of former minor Chris Skura. And fastball's outside on Burdick. It's now 2-1. Lansing, Michigan is Waters' hometown. Played his college ball at Arkansas Pine Bluff to finish up. 2-1. Good strike on the inside edge with some tail on it as well. 2-2. Waters being asked to hold the line here after Lake Erie got a run in the first, 3 more in the second, 1 of which was unearned. Miners got a run back in the bottom half, but have not got any base runners since. 2-2, breaking ball down in the turf away, 3-2. For Marty Anderson, 4 innings pitched, a season high, 8 hits allowed. 4 runs, 3 earned. He walked only 1 and struck out 3. He also hit 1 batter, which ended up scoring. Payoff pitch by Waters to Burdick is outside. He walked him, and there's another free pass to lead off. Oh, wait a second. Wait just a second. Todd Odell changed his mind. Huh. Well, Todd Odell's partner, Joe Harris, has one of a number of delayed strike signals in the Frontier League, and this is the first time that the Miners have seen Odell this year. And even I was fooled by that. So it's a Casasa strikeout for Waters, and up comes Veith, who swings and hits a moonshot to right field. Forget this one. Long gone. Into the Miners bullpen, 5-1 Lake Erie. First home run allowed by the Miners as a pitching staff since Thursday against Evansville. Steven Kraft takes a high strike inside. 0-1. Kraft worked a walk his last time up. He also has a strikeout. 0-1 pitch. Swing and a miss. 0-2. Not sure if we mentioned this already, but an overwhelming key to this series for the Miners as a pitching staff is to keep Lake Erie in the ballpark. 0-2 pitch. Breaking ball socked up the middle to shortstop. Nice glove by Godinho. He spins and throws to first in time, and there's out number 2.
Now batting for 37, Dre Hubbard.
Brings up Dre Hubbard, but the reason we say that is that Lake Erie comes into today 6th in the Frontier League in runs scored, but 2nd with 79 home runs. Only River City has hit more long balls than the Crushers this year. They get perhaps a greater share of their runs on the homer than any other team. Hubbard 1 for 2, a single and a run scored with a strikeout as he takes ball 1 from Waters. Things are not going the Miners' way here so far. Plenty of baseball still left here at Rentwan Park. 1-0 pitch. Swing and a miss. Got the fastball by him. It's 1-1. Waters this year for the Alpine Cowboys made 8 starts, 4-1 record, a 2.93 earned run average in 49 innings. More than a strikeout per frame as well, as that pitch is inside and it hits Hubbard, I think. Or did it? Or did it hit the bats behind him? Apparently that's exactly what happened. Count is 2-1. Pitch here by Waters. Misses a little high, I think. 3-1. Well, that's interesting because the last pitch came behind Hubbard. It hit something and went straight down, as that pitch is outside for ball 4. If it hit the bat, it's a foul ball, I would think. But if it didn't, I think the only thing it could have hit other than that is Hubbard himself, and then he should have been on first. It was called a ball. Curiouser and curiouser. Brian De La Rosa has not been retired tonight. Miners still having trouble retiring him. 1 for 1 with a single and a walk. Pitch by Waters. Swinging a pop-up off of first and out of play, strike 1. De La Rosa is well over 300 all-time against Miners pitching. This is his 4th year overall with Lake Erie. Hubbard off of first, 2 out of 2 in stolen base attempts with 2 outs. Top of the 5th inning, Miners trail 5-1 now. A solo home run by Veith, his 17th of the year. And now Nick Durazo tossing in the Miners pen. Hubbard held on by Smarts, and the pitch by Waters, up and in with a fastball. 1 ball, 1 strike. Waters gets a sign from Nieto. 1-1, swung on, fouled back. Over the roof it goes. 1-2, and 1 strike away as Waters from ending the frame. It began with a strikeout, a delayed strikeout, but a strikeout nonetheless by Burdick. But the very next pitch was absolutely murdered into the Miners bullpen. And a ground out to a slick fielding Godinho. And a 5-pitch walk. A step and a toss to first by Waters. Waters back on the rubber on the first base side. Has the sign from Nieto. There's a 1-2, a fastball overthrown and misses high. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Waters trying to put away De La Rosa. 2-2 pitch, again fouled straight back. And it remains 2-2. Game is kind of slogged along here in Marion. If the late game, Schaumburg at Windy City, which started a half hour after this, isn't caught up to this, I'd be surprised. We're going to check it. Yep. In fact, they're ahead of this game now. 2-2. Another swing and a pop-up out of play, still 2-2. They're in the bottom of the 5th officially at Ozinga Field. Schaumburg up 4-0. And we're in the top of the 5th here, despite the game starting a half hour apart. Waters trying anything he can to put away De La Rosa. Two-two fastball is up and in, 3-2, and that'll release the base runner. After 97 pitches in 4 innings by Marty Anderson, over 20 this inning by Waters. This is exactly the problem that Washington had over the weekend, especially in the first 2 games. Waters will step off. Not a lot of quick innings, even though they were scoreless innings to be certain, but not a lot of quick ones. A lot of pitches having to be spent. Runner goes, and that pitch is fouled away down the left field line, high in the air. And De La Rosa will now see a 9th pitch from Waters. Waters has another sign, and the right-hander's 3-2. Strike 3, got him on the outside edge. Perfect pitch. Casasa's strikeout for Waters ends the inning. Brought to you by First Southern Bank, local people, local decisions, community banking at its best. Lake Erie with a 5-1 lead, though, on the home run by Veith. And after 4.5, Miners trail by 4 on 103.5 ESPN.com. Line out to center in his first time to the plate. First pitch by Johnson is taken right down Broadway for a strike. 5 runs on 9 hits for Lake Erie. 1 run on only 3 hits for Southern Illinois. Leadoff double in the first by Godinho. A home run by Sparks leading off the second, and an infield hit by Kervin Mesquite, the batter on deck, off the glove of the pitcher with 2 outs in that same frame. 1-1 the count to Watkins as the fastball missed outside. Here's the 1-1 pitch by Johnson. That's another pitch that misses outside, and it's 2-1. Johnson gets a sign. Here's a 2-1. There's a breaking ball. Called strike on the upper outside corner. Watkins didn't think so. 2-2. Been a bit of an interesting strike zone tonight so far. Both sides. 2-2. Good leave on the breaking pitch. Curveball down and away. Or down and in, excuse me. 3-2 on Watkins. Watkins trying to get on to lead off. Big right-hander grabs a sign and the payoff pitch to Watkins. Fastball swung on, popped up off the hands, and fouled off onto the roof. 3-2. That ball's rolling down the roof. I think it's going to come off. There it goes. 3-2. Another one that's fouled back. This time into the net by Watkins. Still 3-2. The savvy fans here at Rent One Park know that any ball that hits the roof has a chance to roll down off the roof with it tilted in toward the playing surface, and therefore the crowd. Another 3-2 by Johnson. Another breaking ball. Swung on, popped up. De La Rosa sheds the mask, slides, and makes the catch right on the wall.
Now batting, number 12, Kervin Mesquite.
Well, folks, this does not really feel like the Miners' night right now. They are not really catching any breaks whatsoever. We mentioned the infield hits before, how they were on the ground and just found the right area of the field to get the Lake Erie hitters on base. Miners have had no such luck. Kervin Mesquite takes a first pitch fastball below the knees for ball one. Miners have also today hit a couple of rockets that have been caught. 1-0 fastball catches the low outside corner, 1-2. Or 1-1, excuse me. Mesquite hit one back up the middle off of the glove of Johnson for his infield hit in his first at bat. 5-1 Lake Erie, bottom of the fifth, as Mesquite takes a pitch just a bit high. Bit of a half check swing there. 2-1. Miners looking for a base runner. They haven't had one since Mesquite reached with 2 outs in the second. 2-1 pitch, spikes into the turf right near home plate. 3-1. Miners have worked a bunch of 3-ball counts. First 2 batters of this inning. Smart in the third. Duncan in the second. Watkins in the second. And then twice in the first. So that's 7 3-ball counts. 3-1. Swung on, fouled back into the net, 3-2. However, of those 3-ball counts, only one has resulted in a base hit. Leadoff double by Godinho. Only twice has the runner gotten on. Jamie Smart walked in the first as well. Payoff pitch is fouled off, pinballing around in the traffic around home plate. Mesquite is able to stay alive. Big right-hander kicks and fires another 3-2. Breaking ball, hooked down the right field line. That'll be a base hit for Kervin Mesquite. He powers around first. The long throw in from Hubbard in right holds him to a single. So Mesquite's now 2 for 2 in this game. And now up to the top of the order once again for Yeltsin Godinho. Real solid at bat there by Mesquite. Godinho is 1 for 2 with a double and a ground out to third. His ground out to third, in fact, was on a hit and run that the Miners put on in the second. Mesquite can fly. We'll see if he tries it against the rocket arm of De La Rosa. Very hard to steal against the Lake Erie catcher. First pitch by Johnson. Swing and a miss on the fastball. It's 0-1. Miners looking to give the fans here something to cheer for. That hit by Mesquite, the 4th hit of the game for Southern Illinois. 0-1. It's taken by Godinho, and it's a balk. No pitch. Down to second, Mesquite. It's still 0-1 on the batter. Joe Harris calling the balk from right near the mound. And so for Johnson, it's his first balk of the year, either with Gateway or with Lake Erie. A fast runner in scoring position, Miners wanting to get the run that Lake Erie got in the top half of this inning right back. They've got a couple of cracks now with which to do it. It'll be 0-1 to Godinho, and the fastball fouled back makes it 0-2. Off the suite level, down back into the crowd. There's an older fan who's going to give it to one of the youngsters. That youngster's with another youngster who also has a souvenir. Equal opportunity souvenirs here for the kids in the second row. 0-2 to Godinho. And Johnson dealing from the stretch. Fires a breaking ball. It's swung on and hooked down the left field line and foul. Onto the roof it goes. That's probably going to come down the roof if I were to guess. Godinho able to stay alive at 0-2. There it goes. Onto the lawn, it rolls down. There's one kid over there who's going to get a souvenir of his own. Mesquite with a good leadoff second. He can really run. Anything to the outfield, he'll be able to score. Another 0-2. Breaking ball, spoiled foul. Up the third base line on the ground by Godinho, still 0-2. First of a 3-game series here, midweek between the Miners and Lake Erie Crushers. Miners went to Lake Erie in May and June. Lake Erie not coming to Marion until late August. It'll be another 0-2 to Godinho. Catcher sets up inside. Here's the pitch. Fastball leaked over the plate. It's a rocket into center field for a base hit. Rounding third, Mesquite. Throw in from Kraft is going to be cut off, and nobody covers first, as Godinho will walk back there with an RBI single. Miners are back on the board. It's now 5-2. Well, you heard it during the call. De La Rosa set up inside, and that fastball by Johnson kind of right down the middle, and Godinho knew what to do with it. A mistake on 0-2 gives the Miners an additional run, and they do respond to the Veith home run in the top half. The balk having something to do with the run scoring on the hit by Godinho. And up comes Gianfranco Wawu with Godinho at first, and still one out here in the last of the 5th. For Yeltsin, Godinho his second hit. He's now 2 for 3, and he now has 16 runs batted in on the year. Continues to do marvelous things with men in scoring position, even though he does not get a ton of opportunities. Batting in the top part of the order. Wawu takes a called strike on the low outside corner. He is grounded out to shortstop and second base. Yeltsin Godinho now is 12 for 28 with men in scoring position this year. That is .429. And obviously, that is good. Now it's a 3-run ball game. Lake Erie begins to start their bullpen. There's a check swing on a breaking ball, but Wawu couldn't hold up on the rainbow curve. Count is 0-2 on the Southern Illinois DH. That is Kent Hasler, who has begun to toss for the Crushers. Johnson looks back over his shoulder at Godinho, taking his lead off first. And here's the 0-2 pitch to Wawu. Breaking ball swung on and missed, and Wahoo down on strikes for out number 2.
Now batting, the hitman, number 30.
A rare strikeout for Wahoo.
Smart.
And up comes Jamie Smarts. Wahoo now with 33 strikeouts on the season in 84 games. He's drawn just as many walks as strikeouts. It's part of the reason he's been Mr. Consistent. He's put the ball in play. Jamie Smart 0 for 1 with a fly out to fairly deep center and a walk. Crushers once again shift on him to pull. There's a pitch down to the turf and blocked by De La Rosa for ball 1. It's back to a 3-run ball game here. Miners are hanging around despite all the base runners consistently on for the Crushers. Gotten many more base runners than the Miners have, but it's not a runaway. Godinho takes his lead. 3 out of 4 in stolen base attempts this year. Here's the pitch by Johnson. A fastball that fades over the outside corner. It's 1-1. They place Smart straight away in the outfield. The second baseman Hill is standing in short right. Veith holding on the runner at first, and therefore guarding the line already. Marrero shaded up the middle at shortstop. Off the line a bit, Burdick at third. 1-1 breaking ball. Another called strike at the knees. It's 1-2. The curveball has been Johnson's friend in this frame. Johnson looking to end the frame and keep his team in front by 3, minimize the damage. 1 on and 2 out, the 1-2 pitch. Fastball just outside the zone. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Jamie Smart. Kyle Davis on deck. A lot of pitches this inning for Johnson. He grabs the sign and straightens up from that 6-7 frame. Here's a 2-2. Good breaking ball, but a good spoil foul tip by Smart. Straight back. Still 2-2. Smart looking to get on and extend the frame. Tying runs on deck for the Miners in Kyle Davis. And he leads the Miners in home runs too. And another 2-2 coming to Smart. Johnson kicks and fires. Fastball whacked down the left field line and out of play, foul. We'll do it again at 2-2. Good battle here by Jamie Smart. He's not a guy who infrequently does that. In fact, he's demonstrated that ability to foul off some tough pitches pretty consistently. And a big addition to the Miners ever since the end of June. Every day at first base is where he's been. Another 2-2. And that one reached for a little bit, spoiled foul. May have been ball 3 there. Changeup out of the right hand of Sean Johnson. But regardless, Smart stays alive. Godinho still at first after his RBI single 2 batters ago. Bringing in Kervin Mesquite from second base. 5-2 game here in the last of the 5th. Johnson has a sign. And yet another 2-2 pitch to Smart. Breaking ball stays up and away, 3-2, and that'll move the base runner now. Godinho will be in motion from first as Veith will no longer hold on the runner. So, obviously, pretty decent chance if Smart can find some space in the outfield to put another runner in scoring position. Johnson shakes off a sign, now 2 signs, and now gets one he wants. Godinho off first, and there he goes on the 3-2. Breaking ball popped up to third base. Easy play for Burdick, backing up and makes the catch. That retires the side. Miners get a run as they get a run back, in fact, to make it a 3-run game again. A run on 2 hits, they leave 1. After 5, it is 5-2 Lake Erie on 103.5 ESPN.com. Home run by Veith in the top of the inning. It was gotten right back on a 1-out RBI single by Yeltsin Gudino in the bottom half. Waters looking to now get a shutdown inning. Rakusin is 1 for 2 as he rockets one fair down the left field line. On the first pitch of the inning, it'll rattle around in the corner. Mesquite digs it out, and Rakusin into second with a leadoff 2-bagger. Fastball right down the middle. And this time of year, those get hit, and hit hard. Aaron Hill up at the plate. He is 2 for 3. A run scored and a stolen base as well. Waters had to throw 24 pitches last inning in relief of Marty Anderson. First pitch here, catches the outside corner. 0-1 to Hill, righty on righty. Rakusin is now 2 for 3 as well. And that hit for Lake Erie, the 10th of the game. 0-1 pitch by Waters. Off speed and below the knee is ball 1. Nick Durazo up and throwing once again for the Miners in their bullpen. Kent Hasler still puttering around in Lake Erie's bullpen. Sean Johnson, the Crusher starters at 98 pitches through 5 by our count. Here's a 1-1. Hill swings and misses. Good pitch down and away. Had some tail on it. A ball and 2 strikes on Hill. Waters from the stretch, nods at the sign. The 1-2. Check swing on a fastball inside. He went. And there's a Casasa strikeout. Big strikeout for Waters. His 3rd, in fact, in 2 innings. Brought to you by First Southern Bank, local people, local decisions, community banking at its best. And now Emmanuel Marrero will turn around and bat from the left side. 2 for 3 from the right side against Anderson with a double and an infield hit. And in fact, they are going to not allow Marrero to do that with a lefty on deck as well. It appears that Waters has reached the end of his rope. And Mike Pinto will take the ball from Waters, and so there'll be a pitching change here at Rent One Park. Miners trailing by 3 and looking to keep it that way here in the top of the 6th. Back after this on 1035ESPN.com.
This call of the bullpen is brought to you by Julie, the Illinois one-call system. Safe digging is no accident. Call Julie at 811. It's smart, it's free, it's the law. And in pitch with the Miners, number 11, Nick Durasso.
Is this the second spot of the break? Guerrero will be forced to turn it around and bat from the right side again. He was going to come up and hit lefty against Jake Waters, who is responsible for the runner on second base. But the Miners want to turn him around, especially with the lefty on deck behind him. There's a swing and a pop-up in the air to left center field. Easy play coming in for Curvin Mesquite, or maybe Joe Duncan, who calls off Mesquite and makes the catch himself. And there's the second out of the frame.
Now batting number 24, Logan Farrar.
Up comes Logan Farrar now, and Durasso will face him lefty-lefty. 0 for 3 is Farrar. He last hit a ground ball that went off the pitcher's glove but right to Sparks at third. He does have an RBI and a ground ball to shortstop in the first. That gave Lake Erie a 1-0 lead. They added 3 in the top of the second, one of which was unearned. Miners got a run in the second. Both teams then scored a run in the fifth inning, as there's a pop-up off the bat of Farrar, and making the catch in short right center is Watkins. And the Miners work around a leadoff double for a scoreless shutdown inning in the top of the 6th. So we'll be back after this. The score is 5-2 Lake Erie. Bottom of the 6th next on 1035ESPN.com. here in the last of the sixth. Miners trail 5-2. Still plenty of time left in the game, but we'll see if the Miners can get going against the Lake Erie Relief Corps. Hasler this year has a 6-4 record and 6 saves as well in 35 games. He's been kind of a jack of all trades this year. 1.89 ERA. In 62 innings, he's given up only 35 hits, 15 runs, 13 earned. He's walked 29, but also struck out 85. And batters have hit 163 off of Hasler. He's also thrown 14 wild pitches. That tells you his stuff moves. Davis 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts. As he comes up to lead off here in the sixth, the Miners now looking to keep on creeping back in. They answered the fifth Lake Erie run with a run of their own in the last inning. Hasler, a little bit of Craig Kimbrell in him, looking in straight on, bent over at the hip almost at a 90-degree angle. First pitch here. Straight over the top fastball, swung on and missed, 0-1. Davis has chased that high pitch today. Miners have seen Hasler plenty. They've been able to get to him a couple times. He's out of Chandler, Arizona, second year with Lake Erie. 0-1, another swing and a miss, 0-2. 6 2/3 total innings for Hasler. He's walked 4, struck out 9, and given up 3 runs. He is way ahead of Davis. And the 0-2. Another swing and a miss on a high fastball, and for whatever reason, that pitch, which Davis has done a real good job of not offering at here in this month of August, he's having a lot of trouble doing so today. Up comes Arturo Nieto. Of the 4 strikeouts that Lake Erie has, 3 of them are swinging by Davis. Nieto is 0 for 2, a rocket to center that was caught in the first. Ground ball to the shortstop, his last at bat. First pitch here by Hasler. Fastball at the knee level for a strike. Again, Lake Erie's pitching staff is second to none in the league this year. It's the reason they have won 50 games. 0-1, a swing and a pop-up off of first. This will get out of play off the bat of Nieto, 0-2. First in ERA, first in strikeouts, first in lowest batting average. Top 5 in fewest walks allowed as well. They are the epitome of power and pitching. They haven't scored a ton of runs this year. In fact, the Miners have scored almost 40 more runs. Lake Erie hits the homer. They have 1 home run tonight. 0-2. Up and in with a fastball, 1-2. Second in the league in home runs behind only River City coming in. And that's despite being 6th in runs scored. They get a pretty good percentage of their runs from the long ball. Second in slugging percentage as well with all those homers. 1-2. Breaking ball grounded to shortstop. Easy play for Marrero. Waits and sets and throws in time. 2 up, 2 down.
Now batting, number 7, Taylor Sparks.
Well, up comes Taylor Sparks. 1 for 2 with a homer and a fly ball to the warning track in straightaway center. He's certainly shown off his power. A lot of power and not a lot of opportunities for Sparks. Slugging over 500, even despite a .224 batting average coming in 30 games. This day in baseball history, there was another player in the big leagues. As there's a fastball strike to Sparks, 0-1. He had a rocket start to his major league career as well. We're talking about Rhys Hoskins for the Philadelphia Phillies. Hasler sets and fires the 0-1. Low with a fastball that time, 1-1. Rhys Hoskins set a major league record, hitting his 11th home run in his first 18 games in a win over the Cubs in Philadelphia. Not only that, but he made an outstanding catch of Javier Baez's sinking liner to start a 5-4-3 triple play in that game. There's a breaking ball that misses upstairs by Hasler. It's 2-1 on Sparks. Hoskins now a mainstay in the Phillies lineup. They, like the Miners, are fighting for a wild card spot. Different level, of course. 2-1, grounded to shortstop once again. Marrero picks it up on the move and wings it to first in time to get a hustling Sparks. Hasler comes in and works a 1-2-3, bottom of the 6th, and we move to the last 3 regulation innings. It is 5-2 Lake Erie in front on 103.5 ESPN.com. Top of the 7th here in Marion. Miners still trail by 3, 5-2. Nick Durazo back out to pitch. Dale Burdick, Jake Veith, and Stephen Kraft, the heart of the order due up for the Lake Erie Crushers. Durazo needed only 2 pitches to get the last 2 outs of the last inning in relief of Jake Waters, who goes an inning and a third, gives up his first earned run as a Miner. A home run by Veith in the 5th. 2 total hits, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts. Pitch by Durazo here is low and in on Burdick. 1 ball and no strikes. Burdick is 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts. 1 swinging and 1 looking. We're talking about some baseball history relative to what happened last inning with the Miners having Taylor Sparks at the plate. Talked about Rhys Hoskins a little bit. Now he set a major league record this day 2017 by hitting his 11th homer in his first 18 games played, similar to the power impact that Sparks has had on the Miners. Burdick takes a strike and it's 1-1. Durazo fires. That's a bit low. 2 balls, 1 strike. These 2 teams seeing each other for the first time since June, and lots of new faces, especially on the Miners side. 2-1. Fastball hit high in the air to right center, but easily playable. Into his right comes Kyle Davis. And cuts in front of Joe Duncan, who makes the catch.
Now batting for 33, Jake Veith.
Up comes Jake Veith, who has not been retired tonight. A hit by pitch and a run scored in the 2nd. And infield hits in the 3rd, just out of the reach of Watkins. And a home run to right field in his last at-bat. Speaking of roster turnover, part of minor league baseball is great promotions. Well, this is the major league, so we're going to talk about, but an interesting promotion as Marlon Byrd in 2013 on this day was traded by the Mets along with John Buck and Cash to the Pirates for a player to be named later, also a minor leaguer. How is that ironic? Ground ball toward the Second baseman Watkins, it's off his glove, but he recovers, and then the throw to first is in time to get the lumbering Veith. And so 2 up and 2 down quickly for Stephen Kraft. Miners trail by 3 here in the 7th. So why is the Mets trade of Marlon Byrd in kind of a minor move notable? It's because he was traded on his T-shirt night. The Mets were going to give away T-shirts with Marlon Byrd's number and name on the back. As Stephen Kraft takes a strike on the inside corner. Kraft is 0 for 2 with a walk. The Mets followed through. They gave away the T-shirts, even though Byrd was no longer on the team as of that very day. What else are they going to do with all the T-shirts? Bunt up the third base line, a beautiful one, and it's barehanded by Sparks, but he'll put it in his pocket. A bunt single by Stephen Kraft. It's the 11th hit of the game for Lake Erie, and they have still not been retired in order by the Miners tonight. And that's going to have to change if the Miners want to rally this week and try to elevate themselves in the playoff picture. A bunt hit gets Kraft aboard. Here is Hubbard. 1 for 2 with a walk and a run scored. Strikeouts for the hitless at bats. Lefty on righty. More action now in the Miners bullpen. Pitch by Durazo. Breaking ball strike. 0-1. The pitcher that is now tossing is Heath Renz, who warmed up in the Washington series but never actually came in. 0-1 pitch is a toss to first. Kraft scoots back in. He is 25 out of 29 in stolen base attempts this year. Actually, my apologies. Renz did throw in the Washington series a scoreless inning on Saturday. 0-1. Fastball misses high from Durazo, 1-1. Kraft held on by Jamie Smart over at first. 1-1 pitch is up and away, count 2-1. Lake Erie's going to have Hasler come out for the 7th, as there's nobody throwing for them. Swinging a foul tip off of the catcher. And that makes it 2-2. 1 strike away is Durazo from ending the frame. Durazo ready below the belts, and a 2-2 pitch is not going to be made. Toss to first. Hubbard calls time, backs out of the box, now back in. 5-2 Lake Erie, top of the 7th inning. Man at first with 2 outs. 2-2 pitch. A little bit high. Didn't miss by much. 3-2, and now the runner will be moving. If you liked well-pitched, by-the-book baseball games, the weekend was for you. This game is not. 3-2. Check swing on a breaking pitch low and inside, and Hubbard works a walk. It's his 2nd straight walk. Coming in with a 176 batting average. Miners have put him on twice for free. Inning once again continues for Brian De La Rosa. To put it nicely, this game has been an absolute slog. No 1-2-3 innings by the Miners pitching staff. And a lot of pitches thrown by the Lake Erie starter as well. There's a pitch missing high to Brian De La Rosa, who is 1 for 2 with a run scored and a single as well as a walk. Marty Anderson needed 97 pitches to get through only 4. 29 in an inning and a third from Waters. There's a breaking ball hit in the air to left center field, falling fast, and on the move is Duncan. He has to play it on a hop. It's a base hit. And the throw into the relay man is bobbled, and that allows De La Rosa to go to second. It's now 6-2.
Now batting number 21, Zach Rakusin.
De La Rosa does it again. He is the catcher on the all killing the minors team. Three straight runners with 2 outs. And Mike Pinto walks out to the mound. That's likely it for Durazo. He makes the move. Durazo got the first 2 men in just 5 pitches, but couldn't get out of the frame. Pitching change back after this on 1035ESPN.com. Story time.
This call to the bullpen is brought to you by Julie, the Illinois one-call system. Always know what's below. Call Julie at 811 or visit IllinoisOneCall.com to enter your own request 2 business days before your next outdoor project.
Runs 22. That's 375, which I needn't tell you is way higher than his overall average. Batter is Zach Rakusin, who's 2 for 3 with a double and an RBI. He swings at the first pitch and fouls it off down the right field line. Count is 0-2. Lake Erie certainly in the driver's seats, regardless of what happens with Schaumburg, to clinch a division title tonight. Righty versus righty, Renz deals. Fastball line in up the middle, and there's a base hit. 1 run scores, and rounding third De La Rosa, he's going to hold up. As the throw comes in, now it kicks away from Nieto. Down to second Rakusin. It is now 7-2.
Now batting number 11, Aaron Hill.
Second RBI by Rakusin. The 8 and 9 hitters have driven in 4 for Lake Erie. That's probably going to be a single and an error. Miners just haven't played very well tonight. Aaron Hill up at the plate. He takes a cutter for a strike. Hill 2 for 4. 13 hits allowed by the Miners. They have only 5 themselves. Breaking ball down and away, 1-1. Second and third and still 2 outs. The error is charged to Joe Duncan. 1-1 fouled off, 1-2. And that is a rare error indeed on Duncan. It's just not the Miners' night tonight, and that's unfortunate because there's not a lot of nights remaining. The 1-2. Fastball outside, 2-2. This entire inning has risen up with 2 outs. On a larger scale than before, but the Miners have had real trouble putting away innings and hitters today. There's a fastball strike, 3 to Renz. To Hill. Casasa strikeout brought to you by First Southern Bank. Local people, local decisions, community banking at its best. But Lake Erie now up by 5 with just 9 outs remaining for the Miners. Back after this on 1035ESPN.com.
He's got a friend. His name is Jackson Weissman. He's like a part of him. It's his birthday today. We need to sing happy birthday real quick if we can. Ready? Happy birthday. Help me out here. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Jackson Weissman. Happy birthday to you. Now, stand up on your feet. Let's do our Take Me Out to the Ball Game. Here we go. Real loud. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowds. Buy me some peanuts and cracker jacks. I don't care if I ever get that. Oh, who we rooting for? If they don't win, it's a shame, for it's one at the old ball game. Hey, make some noise for your Southern Illinois Miners!
608 Tap House is located right next to the stadium at 27 and 37th Street. With over 30 beers on tap, handcrafted cocktails, a wide variety of food options, and outdoor seating, it's the perfect post-game hangout spot. And fans, all beer sales will be cut off after the last out of the 7th inning. The Southern Illinois Miners remind you to always drink responsibly.
Well, folks, it's not the Miners' night. 13 hits allowed, 2 errors defensively, just 5 hits offensively. Ball game began with a single and a double. And the Miners have never really been able to gain their footing in this game. Ken Hasler is back out there for the bottom of the 7th. Miners trail 7-2.
Leading off the bottom of the inning for the Miners, number 6, Joe Duncan.
Well, a happy memory from this day in Miners history 3 years ago. Lake Erie in the complete driver's seat, barring a collapse, to clinch the East tonight. And the Miners clinched their most recent division title on this day in 2016. Joe Duncan leads off against Hasler and takes ball 1. 0 for 2 is Duncan. 6-game hit streak potentially on the line here. Veith, the Hasler pitch is swung on and popped up to shortstop. Marrero makes the catch.
Now
There's out number one.
40, Jared Watkins.
Miners busted open a close game at Evansville, thanks to 2 late homers from Alex De Leon in a 7-2 win. Nolan Early and Toby DeMello also went deep in the contest. Miners became the second franchise in the history of the Frontier League to win 3 straight division titles. It was also the last year the Miners were in the postseason. Fastball misses low in the turf, 1-0 on Watkins, who is 0 for 2. 1 year later, although the Miners were far out of the playoff picture by then, Miners did get a win, and it was a historic victory for one of their relievers. Fastball from Hasler is down and away, 2-0. 6 innings of 1-run ball from Robbie Rowland, and 2 RBIs by Ryan Lashley to get a 3-1 win over Evansville. That was here at home. 2-0. Fouled off down the left field side, 2-1. John Werner struck out 2 in a scoreless ninth for his 21st save, breaking Derek Miramonte's single season and career franchise records for saves. Werner is the record holder now. He expanded it the following year. 2-1. Hard line drive, base hit through the right side. And there's a base hit for Watkins, a 1-out base runner for the Miners against Hasler here in the 7th. Brings up Kervin Mesquite, who's 2 for 2 tonight.
Number 12, Kervin Mesquite.
This day in Miners history, 2009, in fact. We're going to stay on the Evansville thing. Thanks to 8 innings of 1-run ball by Dan Zafiro and homers by Stephen Holdren and Adam Hale, the Miners beat Evansville 3-1 to sweep a 3-game series at Bosse Field. That should sound familiar. First pitch to Mesquite, a called strike low. 0-1. Mesquite is 2 for 2 with 2 singles and a run scored back in the 5th. Runner at first, taking a short lead is Watkins. 7-2 Lake Erie, bottom of the 7th. Pitch by Hasler is lined toward left center field. That will get down for a base hit. It kicks away from Kraft, who cuts it off in the deep part of the gap. First to third goes Watkins, and into second with a double is Kervin Mesquite. And all of a sudden, after breaking up an 0 for 20 streak on Sunday, Mesquite is 3 for 3 tonight, and is 4 for his last 5. Miners have a chance to get some runs back here in the bottom of the 7th. Up comes Yeltsin Godinho, who has 2 hits in this game and an RBI as well. Anyway, back to that game in 2009, 10 years ago at Bosse Field. Miners swept Evansville, and that, until this year, until this month, was their last ever sweep at Bosse Field. Miners ending that nearly decade-long drought in early August. There's a swing and a chopper foul on the breaking ball. Godinho had that get a piece of his front leg. Strike 1. Well, the Miners have a chance to get a run in, get some runs back on the board. Between Mesquite and Godinho, they now have 5 of the Miners' 7 hits. Talked about how good that Godinho's been with men in scoring position this year after his RBI single in the 5th. 0-1. A breaking ball swung on and popped up first base side and out of play, 0-2. Righty versus righty on deck, Gianfranco Wawu. A base hit could mean 2. Probably will, actually, unless it's hit too hard, with Mesquite's speed at second. An 0-2 pitch. A Swinging a high chopper to the first base side. It's fielded by Hasler's, going to underhand to Veith, and not advancing are any of the base runners.
Now batting, number 9, Gianfranco Wahoo.
I'm not sure why there was no run scored there. That was so high up in the air that Watkins could have walked home. Especially with Hasler's momentum completely taking him to first base. And now Hasler a chance to get out of trouble. Gianfranco Wahoo is 0 for 3 tonight. First pitch. Fastball called strike on the low edge of the zone, 0-1. Righty versus righty matchup. 7-2 Lake Erie in the 7th. Here's the 0-1. Called strike on the outside edge, 0-2. Hasler nods at the sign. 0-2 pitch. Down on the turf, blocked by De La Rosa. 1-2. Inning got started with a pop out by Duncan to shortstop, then a single by Watkins to right, a double by Mesquite to left center. And on the high bouncing ball toward first base, Miners unable to get a run in. It'll be a 1-2 to Wahoo, and Hasler fires. Popped up off of first, drifting into foul ground. Veith, he's got room. He makes the catch. And the Miners fail to score with a runner in scoring position and less than 2 outs. As we said, nothing much going the Miners' way tonight. 7-2 Lake Erie after 7. Back after this on 103.5 ESPN.com. Been an interesting strike zone all game. It's been rather interesting for both sides, we'll mention that. But still interesting. Logan Farrar at the plates. Marrero on for the third time. Farrar's 0 for 4. He swings at the first pitch and fouls it back. 0-1. This is his first at bat against a right-handed pitcher today. Popped out against Durazo in the 6th. Runner at first, nobody out is Marrero. There's a fastball outside, 1-1. One pitch to Farrar is slapped off to the third base side and out of play. Still up at the plate is Farrar, now behind 1-2. Marrero on the season has stolen 6 out of 9. Held on by Jamie Smart over at first. Steers the 1-2. Farrar takes strike 3 on the outside corner.
Sasa. That's another Casasa strikeout sponsored by First Southern Bank.
And Farrar doesn't like that call, and he's talking to Todd Odell about it. Again, interesting for both sides. Casasa strikeout for Renz, his second of the game, brought to you by First Southern Bank. Local people, local decisions, community banking at its best. Up comes Dale Burdick, who's also 0 for 4. The 3 and 4 hitters in the Lake Erie lineup are a combined 0 for 9, and yet 7 runs on 13 hits. And fastball's up and in, ball 1. It's been Veith and Hubbard and De La Rosa and Racusin. You can add Hill and Marrero in there too. Basically everybody else other than Farrar and Burdick. 1-0 pitch is on the outside corner for a strike. Well, tomorrow's Frontier League action will be very interesting. Miners, unless they make a miracle rally here against one of the best bullpens you'll see, they will fall to 2 games back in the wild card chase with only 5 to go. And they will certainly want to even the series against Lake Erie. But they will also want to keep a very close eye on what happens with River City and Florence. 1-1. Ground ball up the middle of the shortstop. This will be 2. Flip by Godinho to Watkins. 1. Turn to first, double play. And Renz retires the side by facing the minimum. No runs, no hits, nobody left for Lake Erie. We've played 7.5. 7-2 Crushers on 103.5 ESPN.com. Bottom of the 8th, Miners down 7-2. Logan Lombana comes in to pitch. Ken Hasler, 2 innings, 2 hits, no runs, no walks, and 1 strikeout. Lombana on the season, 3.18 ERA in 22 games, a 1-3 record, and 9 saves. 22 2/3 innings, 21 hits, 10 runs, 8 earned. He has walked 4 and struck out 28. A 241 average against for Lombana. Miners have never really found their footing tonight. They trailed ever since the third batter of the ballgame. And after getting the tying run to scoring position with nobody out on a leadoff double in the bottom of the first, they could not execute, could not move the base runner. Lake Erie scored 3 in the top of the second, and they've been in control ever since. Smart, Davis, and Nieto due up. Smart 0 for 2 with a walk. For Lombana, he's out of Daly City, California. He's in his second year with the Crushers. He's made 1 appearance with 1 scoreless inning last year against the Miners. He's out of the Minnesota Twins organization, 25th round pick in 2015, and played 4 years in their system before joining the Crushers last year. Pitch by Lombana. Fastball up and away, 93 miles an hour. 1-0. Miners have Ian Codina now throwing in their bullpen. After Renz worked a scoreless top of the 8th. 1-0 fastballs on the low edge of the zone, count 1-1. Tall right-hander deals. 1-1 fastball outside. 2 balls, 1 strike. The 2-1 pitch home to Smart. Another one outside, 3-1. Seven runs, 13 hits, and no errors for Lake Erie. 2 runs on 7 hits and 2 errors for Southern Illinois. 1 of the runs is unearned off the starter Marty Anderson, who lasted only 4 innings in this game through 97 pitches. 3-1 fastball is low, and it's a leadoff walk drawn by Jamie Smart. Well, as Kyle Davis comes up, leadoff walks often lead to good things. Kyle Davis is 0 for 3 with 3 swinging strikeouts. Logan Lombana talking with Joe Harris about something. Not entirely sure what that is. Now that I'm getting a closer look at Lombana, he's wearing some spectacles, some white-colored athletic spectacles. Well, that's certainly unique. First pitch to Davis. Fastball in there for a strike, 0-1. Davis has had, well, not a very good day. He's chased high fastballs for all 3 of his strikeouts. Smart off of first. He's not going anywhere. Miners down by 5. The 0-1. Fastball lined up the middle, past a diving Marrero into center field, a base hit. Bat died a hero. That was a broken bat liner. First 2 men aboard here for Southern Illinois in the 8th inning. That brings up Arturo Nieto. Nieto has grounded out to the shortstop in his last 2 at-bats. He's 0 for 3. Davis gets his first hit of the game. De La Rosa went out to have a short chat with Lombana. A righty versus righty matchup here. Lombana peering in, bent at the waist, gets a sign. First pitch. Fastball strike, 0-1. Another 93-mile-an-hour heater. Lombana stands 6'3", 220. He's a big pitcher. Crowd trying to make some noise as the Miners try to get something going here in the 8th. Lombana gets the sign and comes set. Here's the 0-1 to Nieto. Fastball low and away. 1 ball, 1 strike. One ball, 1 strike on the Miners' experienced catcher Nieto. Entering this game on a hit streak. He's hit a couple balls pretty well, but not gotten a hit. Here comes a 1-1. Lombana deals. Chopper up the third baseline, it rolls foul. Kind of went straight off the top of the plate there. 1-2 the count. Nieto climbs back in. Nobody out in the inning. And the 1-2. Swing and a miss. Breaking ball down and away, and Nieto had no chance of making contact with that one.
Number 7, Taylor Sparks.
Up comes Taylor Sparks, who is 1 for 3 with a home run. Solo shot in the 2nd inning. Also a ground out to shortstop and a fly out to the warning track in center. Another righty-to-righty matchup. First pitch by Lombana. Ground ball left side. It will get through into left field for a base hit. Burdick ran to cover third, and that left the hole wide open. Marrero was unable to get there as well, so there's a base hit for Taylor Sparks. Bases are loaded for Joe Duncan. Second hit of the inning for the Miners. They now have 9 for the game. And now Duncan, who is 0 for 3, will look to cash in. 7-2 the score in favor of Lake Erie. Another righty-to-righty matchup. Runners at every base for Southern Illinois. Here's the pitch. Chopper to the left side, deep short. Marrero gloves, throws to third base. That's 1, and that's all they get. Run comes in to score on an RBI fielder's choice by Joe Duncan, his 38th RBI of the year. That makes it a 7-3 ball game.
Number 40, Jared Watkins.
Putout goes 6-5 on the play for the second out of the inning. Up comes Jared Watkins, who is 1 for 3 with a single in his last at-bats. Miners need one more base runner to bring the tying run to the plate here in the 8th. First pitch by Lombana. A little wave and a miss. Fastball down and away, 0-1. Sparks at second, Duncan at first. Lombana's 0-1. Another fastball, this one way down and away. Ball 1 on Watkins. All you can ask when you trail late in the game is that you get a chance to bring the tying run to the plate. And And all the Miners are asking is to reload the bases and bring up the tying run. 1-1 pitch. Swung on, popped up down the left field line. This will get out of play. Onto the roof it goes. Strike two. Well, inning got started with what else? A leadoff walk. The leadoff walk has come around to score. That was Jamie Smart's leadoff walk. Kyle Davis followed with a single, then Nieto struck out. But following the ground ball single by Sparks, another ground ball to shortstop brought in the run. 1-2 pitch. Fastball outside, 2-2. There's another right-hander that is now up in the Lake Erie bullpen. As we mentioned, Ian Codina has been throwing all inning for the Miners. Runners take their lead, everybody way back on the infield. Here's 2-2. Fastball is strike three, apparently. Apparently he went around on the swing. And Lombana's out of the inning. Miners get a run on 2 hits. They also leave 2. Through 8, it's 7-3 on 103.5 ESPN.com.
From the bottom of the second, Taylor Sparks with a monstrous home run into right field. With competitive pricing and terrific customer service,
Schaumburg has defeated the Windy City Thunderbolts 6-5. Evansville has won 6-0 over Gateway. So the Miners, unless they rally for 4 or more in the 9th, they will fall to 4 games back in the division of the Otters and 2 games back in the wild card. Just 5 games remaining. Pitches outside to Veith. 2 for 3 with a home run, 2 runs scored and an RBI. Codina kicks and slings. A swing and a miss. Big swing there. And it's 1-1. Codina, a rookie. Cal State Dominguez Hills. But before that, American River College, where he was coached by former Miner Preston Vansel. 1-1. There's a slider for a strike at the knees. 1-2. Codina bringing a little bit of a funk factor to the Miners bullpen down the stretch here. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Backdoor slider around the plate outside. 2-2. The Miners, in a twist of irony, they look forward to this stretch here in August all season. 15 of their final 21 games here at home. As there's a fastball that misses high. According to Todd Odell, it's 3-2. In a twist of irony, this month, the Miners have been a better road team. 3-2. Swung on, popped back and out of play by Veith. He stays alive. Southern Illinois this month, 11-2 on the road. This month at home, 5-5. And unless they are able to come back here in the ninth, they will drop their 5th consecutive home game. There's a fastball just a bit low and in. Leadoff walk.
Now batting number 7, Stephen Kraft.
And up comes Stephen Kraft. Only twice have the Miners lost more than 5 straight games at home. Of course, there have been some space around those games, but you go back to the loss to Florence 2 Thursdays ago. Pitch is inside on Kraft, who's reached base twice, 1 for 3 with a run scored. And then the 3 to Evansville. Got a couple road series in between there, but 4 losses at home in a row for the Miners coming in to this one. There's a slider, and apparently just a little bit low again, 2-0. Dalton Geeky is throwing in the Lake Erie bullpen as there's a fastball called to strike. 2-1 the counts. Miners down 7-3. Leadoff man on first base after a walk. There's a pitch swung on and chopped foul back behind the plate, 2-2. Codina is set once again, and here's the 2-2 pitch. Chopped up the third base line. Sparks has it, fires to second base 1. That's all they get. Fielder's choice. Lead man retired. And there's out number 1 in the ninth. In the bottom half, the Miners will have 9-1-2 due up Mesquite, Gardenia, Wawoo. Five to 4 on the putouts at the Keystone sack. Here's Hubbard, who has been on base 3 times. 1 for 2 with 2 walks. And 2 runs scored. The throw to first is behind Kraft. The throw back toward the second base bag. It hits the back of the runner again. That's the second time that the Miners have had a Crushers base runner in a rundown, dead to rights, and they hit the runner with a throw. Ground ball back to the mound. Codina will look the runner back to second, and then the throw to first is in time. We're going to see what they're going to call that. Not so sure that's not an error again. First one was. How rare is it to see a throw hit a runner in a rundown? Just regularly. And how rare is it to see it happen twice in the same game? Up to the plate is Brian De La Rosa. 2 for 3 with a walk, a double, 2 RBIs. He takes inside ball 1. Righty versus righty, Codina fires. And that underneath fastball is a called strike, 1-1. That is another error. 3 errors on the minors tonight. Runner at second base, 2 outs. Codina delivers. There's a slider through the front door, and there's a perfectly thrown strike. 1-2. Codina drops down and fires a pitch that's bounced up the middle to the second baseman Watkins. He fields and throws out De La Rosa to end the inning. No runs, no hits, 1 error in the inning, the third of the game on the minors and 1 left. Lake Erie 3 outs away from clinching the East. We'll be back after this on 1035ESPN.com. 4 for his last 5 after an 0 for 20 streak. Switch hitter who will bat left-handed against the big right-hander Geeky. He's in his second year with Lake Erie. Picked up by the Cubs last year after just a couple appearances. First pitch here, over the top of the fastball strike. Southern Illinois Healthcare postgame show will come your way after the final out. We'll break this ball game down for you. Spoiler alert, the Miners have trailed throughout and have never really gotten their footing. 0-1's another low strike, and the count is 0-2. Geeky is out of Spring Hill, Tennessee, 6'5", 230. Oh-2 pitch. Slapper to the third baseman Burdick. He gloves and throws out Mesquite, one away.
Now batting, number 4, Yeltsin Gudino.
Up comes Yeltsin Gudino, who's 2 for 4 tonight. Leadoff double in the bottom of the first. That put the tying run in scoring position. Miners failed to score him. Lake Erie scored 3 in the top of the second. And that's basically been it. Miners were hanging around for a while, down by 3. We're unable to put any pressure on that lead. Drive toward left center field, and that ball's fairly deep. Hustling after it, Stephen Kraft into the gap, reaches out and makes the running catch. Another reason that it's not the Miners' game tonight is that balls like that find the glove. That ball was crushed. Lake Erie 1 out away from a division title. Not entirely sure when their last one was. It was at the very least before the 2014 season. In fact, their last division crown the year before, 2013. First pitch to Wawoo. Taken at the low edge of the zone again. It's 0-1. Wawoo 0 for 4 tonight. Lake Erie that year won the division by 1 game over Traverse City, and defeated the Beach Bums in 5 games in the first round. Wawoo swings and fouls one back, and the Miners are down to their final strike. Then Lake Erie was defeated by Schaumburg 3-1 in the championship series. First of the Boomers' 3 Frontier League titles. 0-2 on Wawoo, bases empty, 2 outs, 7-3 in the bottom of the 9th. The pitch by Geeky is a slapper to the shortstop. This will do it. Marrero's got it, tosses to first in time, and there is your ball game. The Lake Erie Crushers become the first team to clinch a playoff spot in the Frontier League this year. They have won the East Division title, and the Miners will look forward to tomorrow. And they will look to bounce back from a loss that was, well, just all Crushers. Back after this with the postgame show on 1035ESPN.com.